Good morning and welcome to Second Saturday Satsang. We're going to chant today. And if you listened to the last two meditations, you know, we've been talking about thoughts and that chanting or mantra is a form of thought. Excuse me. So you heard me also, I beg your pardon, probably heard me enjoying a particular phrase that I had run into. The phrase was, thoughts are architectonic. Isn't that cool? Thoughts are architectonic. And as I continue to ruminate on that statement, which in essence says that it's thought forms that shape the architecture of our experience. As I continue to mull this over, I realize that thoughts are, of course, contained in many different ways. Most commonly, we think of thoughts as words in our head, but thoughts can also be represented by a symbol, by a feeling, by a picture, by a mantra, So our thoughts are constant. They even occur for us in the womb before we have words to describe them. Thoughts are elicited from when we feel a sensation in our bodies, when we notice something in our environments, when something triggers a memory, even when we see a symbol that we react to, maybe a depiction of Christ on the cross, or a dome on a mosque or a Capitol building, or even the written symbol for the planet Mars. These little symbols, these little experiences contain an entire gestalt of meaning for us. So thoughts contain feelings and impressions and the gist of something, right? Which is kind of difficult sometimes to put into words. Thoughts can come from anywhere. They're hard to contain. Thoughts are hard to contain, which is why, even though our thoughts are ultimately how we do create everything in our experience, thoughts are challenging to use consciously for creation. Our minds wander. Our environment shifts, and we notice the shifts. Feelings evolve, come and go. People come and go, along with the strong beliefs of the people around us. Those change as well, and that is a part of our experience. So chanting is a way to focus one's attention. So today we're going to chant. Now, afterwards, we'll have an opportunity to share in community as usual, but today we're going to chant. And as most of you know, the chant given our lineage by Mahavatar Babaji is Om Namah Shivaya, Shivaya, Shiva. Om Namah Shivaya, Shivaya, Shiva. Om Namah Shivaya, Shivaya, Shiva. That's often sung, but I'm going to spare you my voice. But today we're just going to chant. And I'm going to use the Rudraksha beads to chant 108 times. There are 108 beads in the Rudraksha prayer beads, and 108 being a sacred number in the yogic tradition. So first, let's talk a little about the chant and the gestalt of the chant, right? What is a gestalt? Well, the dictionary says it's an organized whole, W-H-O-L-E, that is perceived as more than the sum of its parts. I like to describe it as if you look at a beautiful painting that affects you, you react to it. It's more than words that describe it, right? Or when you fall in love. When you fall in love, there's a gestalt to the experience. It's a whole body experience. It's a whole mind experience when you're falling in love. It's a gestalt. It's something more than you can describe in words, right? It's the gestalt of a thing can include, for instance, the visual stimuli that you see. It can include the felt sense. It can include the sound around you. It can include the atmosphere of the surround and what you see in the surrounding environment. It's the gestalt of a thing. It's the entire experience. Mostly that experience, of course, is a feeling, is contained in a feeling. So the gestalt of Om Namah Shivaya, Shivaya, Shiva, if you will, is important to the architecture of the experience. So chanting is not exactly mindless, is it? Rather, it involves surrendering one's outer thoughts to the gestalt of the mantra. So let's break it down a little bit. Om Namah Shivaya, Shivaya, Shiva, the gestalt of the chant. First, it comes from the word Om. The first word in the chant is Om, which has a millennia long representation for us. It is the ultimate reality, the ultimate consciousness, which we're connecting with. So that's part of the gestalt of the chant. Namah is a feeling of reverence. That's how I feel it. It means literally obeisance. I bow to the ultimate reality within myself. It's the ultimate. It includes the Atman, the self with a capital S. Namah is to worship. So Om Namah, just feel that. So Shiva, of course, is the supreme, is worshipped in the Hindu religion as the tradition, I should say, as the supreme reality, the supreme self, the inner self. The supreme reality, Shiva. Shiva is also Shiva the destroyer of the sick and weak and unhealthy ego, right? So Shiva is invoked in this chant. So the gestalt of this is you're connecting with the ultimate and you're invoking and surrendering your ego to purification by Shiva, your inner Atman, right? So it connects you to everything and self at the same time, which is the perfect design, isn't it? So then we also add the ya at the end, which is a suffix on the end of Shiva, Shivaya. Ya in Sanskrit means kind behavior. Isn't that beautiful? Shivaya. So the purification the gestalt of the purification is intended to create kind behavior, to elicit kind behavior, and when I say elicit, I actually mean it grows from within. The kind behavior isn't something that you submit yourself to. It is something that grows within you and becomes what you are and what you do. So it's the highest, truest expression of yourself. And I said in the meditation, I do like that we repeat the ya twice, Shivaya twice in our particular tradition. To me, it means we're doubly noticing that we are submitting our behavior to the highest form of ourself, right? And the purification of ourselves. So like I said in the beginning, what we're going to do today, we're not going to have very much of a lesson. We're just going to chant today. Om Namah Shivaya, Shivaya, Shiva together. I'm going to ask you all to chant with me, but you'll have to put yourselves on mute because, as you know, with Zoom, you will all come in different. Well, we will all come in different times, so we can't chant in unison, but you can chant in unison with me if you put yourself on mute. So that's what we're going to do. And then at the end of that, we will share in community we have an opportunity to just share in community and get to know each other and say hello. But right now, we're going to experience Om Namah Shivaya, Shivaya, Shiva, with the understanding that what we're doing is connecting to the ultimate and surrendering to the ultimate, so that everything in us can bloom forth in kind behavior. Right? So relax your body, and get in touch with the inner self. As you close your eyes, and you feel your entire body begin to just relax. And as your body relaxes, your Atman, your self, the Mula Purusha, begins to take prominence in your thoughts and in your awareness, in your consciousness. Think for a moment of the meaning of Om Namah Shivaya, Shivaya, Shiva. Now think of its feeling. Now melt into the energy of that. And as we chant, focus on that. Forget the words, forget everything but the sensation, the feeling, the gestalt of this chant. We're going to chant 108 times. Om Namah Shivaya, Shivaya, Shiva. 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 Can you feel the vibration of that? We haven't done this before in a recorded satsang. We've only done it when we're all together in person, and I miss it. I miss melting into the energy of the chant and drawing forth together the energy that comes from mutual participation in a thought form. It's a beautiful thing. Om Namah Shivaya, Shivaya, Shiva. One of the reasons that I am really thinking about this mantra more than usual is, as many of us are, I'm going through a lot of changes, and sometimes I don't even know how to ask for what's next. I think I described in one of our satsangs how it felt like I was being dropped into an unfamiliar garden and there was nothing but fog and I couldn't see the next step. I don't know where the walls are, where the fountain is. All I can do is wait for the next flagstone to appear. And as it does, I take that one step. And that's where I am. So the chant gets rid of planning and thinking, and it just gets into surrender. And it's one of the reasons I wanted to do this. So I am wanting all of us to participate in sharing our thoughts and our experiences. If you want to. One of the things I want to do is introduce and welcome Baji. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Baji contacted me earlier by email. Hello. And asked to join. There are very few of us here today, Baji, but we all welcome you. Would you like to introduce yourself and tell us where you're from and why you wanted to join us? You're still on mute, of course.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you so much. I consider myself actually still a beginner. I honor maintaining the beginner's mind in all that I do. So even though, I'm in my 70s, I've been studying a lot through my life, and my journey has led me here. I found you on Facebook, I think it was. Oh. That really doesn't matter because we know that we're always being led to the absolute perfect place for us at whatever point we call it forth, even though I wasn't aware that I was calling this experience forth. I live in Atlanta. I've been in Atlanta for 21 years from California, which was my home. And after I retired, I chose Atlanta to be my home. My daughter at the time had come here to go to college. I am a spiritual person. I think I'm woke. I attend the Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta. I'm a spiritual licensed practitioner. My study of Buddhism and my practice has been relatively sporadic, if you will. I'm in a group, and for the past 3 months, we've been studying Thich Nhat Hanh's book, No Mud, No Lotus. And so that sparked a greater desire in me. I had read his work before, but not studied it in the depth that we've been doing. I also am familiar with Ron Davis and his center up in North Georgia. I can't call the name of the center now, but I received their booklet every month. So I've always been open. Chanting is not part of my practice. I listen to lovely voices that chant, but I haven't yet developed the practice of chanting. So I very much appreciated your introduction before we did the chant. And I was actually just following in my mind and my heart, but I wasn't saying the words aloud because I'm just not yet at a point of comfort, intoning those words. But I absolutely felt the embrace of the one filling my heart as we did that. So I believe that it accomplished what its intention is. I believe I have a kind heart, and I'm just glad to be here. I think that whoever is here is who's supposed to be here, and it's perfect. So
I feel that. I feel your kind heart, Baji. Did I pronounce your name correctly, Baji?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
We're very familiar with the Spiritual Living Center here in Atlanta. In fact, we just donated some books to them and some CDs to them. So they'll be in.
That's how I found you.
Oh, okay.
Because there was a book. Let me grab that book. I bet this is one that you donated. Was it The Secret Garden?
Oh, that's from by my teacher. That was not one of the ones but his teacher, it also wrote a book, and that's what we donated. It's the Kartikeyan Yogic book.
Oh, look
But
at that.
The Secret Garden is my teacher. Oh, I'm glad yes, I know that book well. I know that book well. I'm so glad that you found us. I really am. We are a small group, and we change out. Sometimes somebody comes, and the next week it's somebody else, but it's always just the right people. And I'm so glad that you're here. I loved how you began talking about beginner's mind. That's one of the most important tenets of our tradition, is holding the beginner's mind. And as my teacher told me, in the expert's mind, there are few solutions, but in the beginner's mind, there are many. And so it's a constant practice to feel the beginner's mind and get back into the gestalt, if you will, of the beginner's mind. It's a constant practice because we're very tempted to know everything. And so I love the way you began, Baji, that you're in the right place. There's no doubt about it. Yeah. So we're in Atlanta, but we we had stopped having satsang in person. And now we're actually just about to move out of Atlanta, but we're going to continue doing the Zoom things. But I hope that I get to meet you before I leave. Maybe we can have tea or something. That would be so wonderful.
Thank you.
Yeah. So what's been going on with everybody? I know I follow astrology. I'm not an astrologer. I wish I could say that I was. I understand enough to be dangerous, but I follow it. And what I'm being told is that, the stars are such that things are changing in everyone's lives. And change is, is wonderful and the only way we ever evolve. And it's scary and sometimes feels dangerous. And so we're all, in my opinion, probably, it's just an opinion, most of us are experiencing change in some form right now. And certainly we've experienced change in the last couple of years with COVID, if nothing else. And then, of course, the last 5 years have been just crazy in the United States, particularly. So we have experienced a lot of change. A lot of our institutions are no longer functioning as they were and as we assumed they would always be, things like that. So it's the macro and the micro. But what's going on with you? If you would like to share, anybody like to share what their feelings are, you can talk about what's going on in episodes in your life, but you can also just talk about how you're feeling and how you are experiencing these changes. Mm. I'm experiencing them as an opening up. I'm feeling deeper, more deeply than I'm accustomed to feeling. I'm broken open. And like I said, I'm looking for the next flagstone every moment of every beginning that I make. Every time I make a beginning, I am looking for the next flagstone and trying to be not only in a beginner's mind, but trying to be connected always. If you know what I mean, being connected to spirit has a gestalt. And for me, that's my favorite word today, apparently. But even when I feel connected, there's a way that my eyes act. I literally look up and slightly to the right when I've noticed that about myself. There's a whole gestalt when I'm connected. So I learned through neuro-linguistic program that I can work backwards. I can say, oh, if I'm not feeling connected, I can actually put my eyes up to the right and I can get connected. And so I am doing that. I am looking for the next flagstone. I am constantly being connected. I ask spirit to teach me how to be more present than I am. And immediately spirit showed me my own thoughts and how frequently I was having a conversation with somebody in my head. And I thought, oh, that's not being present. I'm not being present if I'm thinking about what I want to say or what I want to say in the future. I am not being present. So I am going through an evolution right now. It's like a spiral upward. Every time you hit the same place on the spiral, you experience the same thing at a different level. We're always a beginner and we always continue to have those new experiences that challenge us to open up more, to feel more, to connect more, to love more, to be in community more, to know our oneness with each other more. All these things are constantly happening in our lives, and they challenge us to continue moving toward the ultimate, toward God. So I know those are the experiences I'm having. What about you, Bava? Are you there? Nikki's spiritual name is Bava.
Mm.
What's happening with you, my love? Are you there? You are on mute. Perhaps you stepped away. Mm-hmm. How about you, Aditi? Can you share what's going on with you?
I just joined.
Yes, I saw that. Welcome.
What's going on with me? Well, today's my birthday.
Oh, happy Happy birthday. I didn't know that. Happy birthday.
So not a lot. I mean, I'm just working and, working on, I'm on organizing my mind. I'm working on disciplining, my mind. I still can be all over the place um, and just focusing, but I've been more lately in the 3D world than the 5D world, I can manage pretty well in the 5D world. In the 3D world, I have challenges. And so I'm, trying to just get disciplined and do what I need to do, as opposed to just be on social media all the time. I'm on social media too much.
Mm-hmm.
But that's it. My kids are doing good, and everything else is good.
And you have gotten a jump on most of us by doing all these changes that you did last year, and yeah, and so you're in more of a settling mode now, aren't you?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, more of a settling mode, coming up with new habits and new, yes.
Yeah, I moved back to my hometown, which I love, which was the best decision I've made. And I'm just putting myself out there, trying to meet people and stuff.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
And to take care of myself in the 3D world.
Yeah, you bring up a good subject. Really, we are moving into another dimension in our thoughts and our being, and we're challenged to bring that back into the third dimension and make it real, realize it in the third dimension as well. As a matter of fact, that is the journey of the guru. Is first there is the journey of the Kundalini energy that rises up to the crown, and then the guru is challenged to bring it back down into earth, to bring that light back to earth, which is one of the reasons humanity is here. So what you're talking about, Aditi, is it's not easy because it hasn't been done as much as, it's not like you can't look around and see everybody else doing it and follow into the energy of the crowd. You have to be a leader at this moment and learn to be in the fifth dimension, or however you want to describe it, another plane of existence, being there and loving and seeing and understanding and experiencing the oneness, and then coming back and bringing that to your experience on earth. That is a high calling. The interesting thing is, a lot of very, very spiritual people are finding that part clumsy. Because it's clumsy, because just remember how when you learned to drive, it was clumsy. It wasn't that you didn't want to learn to drive. It wasn't that you didn't understand the benefits of driving. It's just that you had to really practice. And of course, the challenge with that is that we don't have to practice. With driving a car, we had a test that we had to take, and we had to get good at it no matter what. And to get from one place to the other, we had to practice. But we don't have to do that now. This is a higher level, what we're learning. We're having to learn to do these things by intention. And in practice is, the word disciple means discipline, means practice, means learning. And so practicing in consciousness what we know to be our purpose, even if we can't put it in words, even if we can't tell somebody else what our purpose is, we know that our purpose is to bring this consciousness into the earth. We know that. What our individual part in that is we don't know, but we know that much. And practicing that over and over and over, practicing it and getting it wrong, making a mistake, slamming on the brakes too hard, putting on the gas too hard, forgetting on to turn your signal on. All these things are mistakes, but that's okay. We keep making them and we keep practicing. And we're in the most amazing time in history, I think. And some people have probably said, what was I thinking when I decided to incarnate in these times? But you did decide to incarnate in these times because you knew you were up to it. You knew you had a gift to give. You knew you had a contribution to make. And so I love what you're saying, Aditi, because that is a practice, you know, and the temptation is always to distract ourselves in any way we can from that. And we can, there's nothing stopping us from doing that. And if that's the decision we make, that's okay. That's the decision we make. But if we want to move forward and evolve and grow closer to God and closer to humanity and closer to the oneness that is the all, as it's described by the Hermeticists, the all. If we want to do that, we have to be a disciple. We have to be a beginner, and we have to come up with different practices, and we have to practice them, don't we? So, yeah. Anybody else experiencing that same thing, the difficulty, or I don't want to say difficulty, but the challenge, if you will, of moving between the worlds?
With all the changes that are going through, I'm going through right now, I'm getting a lot of lessons and turning obstacles into opportunities. And as we've discussed the last couple of Satsang, using our thoughts as creation. And one of my teachers, gave me these ideas recently. Says my thoughts are illusions or stories. What's real is my ability to hear the thoughts or to have the thoughts. I'm the thinker of my thoughts, and I move my attention to creating thoughts that better serve me. And as Baji talked about earlier, it's a matter of trying to have a beginner's mind to be able to see your thoughts and to be able to create things from the thoughts. And in order to do that, you have to be open to learning. And that's what I'm trying to practice anyway. Being more open to learning. And because in the past I've been an expert at a lot of things. And
Yeah.
now I'm learning to be a beginner again.
That's beautiful, Arunadev, and you're right. You are an expert in a lot of things, and it's more comfortable to be an expert, isn't it? And stepping into the unknown, wow, that takes so much courage. And doing it intentionally is the highest form of bravery, I think. Saying, I intend to be a beginner. I intend to learn. I intend to put myself in a place of not knowing, in the place of a student, disciple, whatever. Yeah, and particularly for some of us who are of a certain age and, we, you know, we don't like learning new things. My mother's still living, and she never even learned to get on email, and now she's in assisted living, and for a while she wasn't able to have visitors or anything. So my father passed away, and a month later COVID happened, and she was all alone for the first time in her entire life. And I thought, you know, if only she had learned, if only she had wanted to learn more, you know, if she had only stepped outside of her comfort zone, we would have been able to do Zoom or FaceTime or whatever, but she was not able to do that. And so I really take that as a lesson, because I want to put myself in an uncomfortable position more often. And spiritually and physically, I mean, there are just, the world's moving so fast, and there's so much to learn, and I am a beginner in so many things. But thank you for sharing that, Miranda. That was beautiful. That was really beautiful. Baba, are you back?
Hello.
Hello, love.
I'm on my phone this time instead of the computer, so I couldn't find the dang unmute button.
Okay.
Part of it was I was still very much in meditation. And part of it was once you called me, I couldn't find the button. So
Okay.
you know, me and technology, speaking of your, you know, I'm not too different than your mom, as you know, in that respect. Yeah, this has been really nice for me. Thank you so much. And you know, I don't often come to satsang, and I just felt very called, and I had sat down on the floor to do my yoga and meditation. And when I got to I was doing yoga as you were speaking in the beginning, and then when I got to my meditation part, where I generally meditate for a while, you started the chant, and I haven't chanted in a while, and that was really good. That was really, really nice. So thank you very much. That was perfect for me. Perfect. I kept wanting to sing it, but I wanted to chant it with you, so I did. So I'll probably be singing it the rest of the day, though. But yeah, it's interesting. I don't want to say a whole lot because I am in a really quiet space generally, but I just texted somebody last night. I texted Greer, and I said, I feel weird, like halfway between who I've been and who I'm becoming. I know it's good change and growth and transformation, yet at the same time, very disconcerting. Makes sense? So that's like, you know, where I'm at. It's a very weird feeling, and I know the whole world and all of us individually are going through it. And it's just, I'm looking for that next stone in front of me too, you know, Indira. I'm in the garden too, in that fog. And the difference, and I, you know, pretty much been there my whole life, as you know, but the difference is that I'm kind of surrendering more. I'm just, I don't know. I'm really, you know, my whole life I just been fighting, resisting. Got to have the answers. And lately I'm just kind of like just sitting there in the fog, you know, and allowing that, and working really hard on figuring out who I am, looking at the ways I compare myself to others, and just not feeling equal, you know, not feeling like I've done much in my life. And, you know, I've struggled with that my whole life of putting myself down, and self-doubt and self-hatred and all that. And I'm been working on that a lot, and that's been changing even, you know, with or without my cooperation. I mean, divine grace, just the energies and what's happening. I'm just allowing myself to be who I am more without chastising myself. And so that's happening more and more, and that feels good. And like I said, it's kind of disconcerting. It's like, wow, who is this? Who am I? You know, which really is the question, and really what I'm working on. So, but it's very, very interesting to, you know, be standing outside of yourself, watching yourself be different. and being someone, changing into someone that you have really never met before.
Wow.
So it's weird. Like I said in the text, it's weird. It's really weird.
Changing to someone you've never met before. Wow. That's powerful. I have to tell you, I have noticed, you know, there's no doubt in my mind that what you're saying is right when you say that you're making progress and you're changing. I can feel it. I can see it. And I love that phrase that you're looking at someone that you've never met before. Wow, that's powerful. Wow.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you. Thanks very much for all of this. Thank you to you all.
You're welcome. And that takes so much more courage than even beating ourselves up. That's easy. That's the easy path because we know it, you know, it's just the way to do it, you know, but stepping out and knowing you're something that you have not allowed yourself to be. Wow. That takes courage. That takes courage. And I salute you for that.
Thank you.
Sweetheart. Mm.
Ditto.
Yeah, we're all moving and growing, aren't we? Is there anything that's been going on with you, Baji, that you would like to share?
Ooh. Life is happening, isn't it? Oh my goodness. I practice Tai Chi.
Oh.
And since COVID, more Qigong than Tai Chi, because now I'm in my house as opposed to before I was in a studio or outdoors, and I'm spending more time inside. And when we were talking about moving between the realms, the realm of this form and effect physical existence, the sensory realm that we know so well, that tends to get most of my attention. Doing the practice of Qigong and Tai Chi allows me to really, in a very visceral, powerful way, become aware of there's more. I can feel it, I can sense it, and I feel so different after I've done my practice than I did before I came to it. So why do I come to it begrudgingly? Like, oh, I know I need to do this, but why is it that I don't skip metaphorically or perhaps even physically? Why don't I skip toward that opportunity? You know, why can't I recognize myself? Why does that higher self, that true self, have to be unfamiliar to me while I'm in this realm? So my practice is for there to be less demarcation between the realms of being. I really just want to flow, if you will. So when you were talking about upper and the lower, that's the commencement move for Tai Chi and Qigong. We let the hands float up, fingers loose, and then we press down. And we can feel that energy. And if we just do that, we inhale and breathe as we rise. It's not just the hands rising, it's our whole being, it's our consciousness. And doing that practice creates that oneness for me. And it really helps me navigate whatever is going on. What's going on immediately is people that I know that have been close to me are going through some really severe physical health challenges. I mean, one in a rehab center and kind of going in and out of consciousness and losing track of, physical time, and the other one in a mental situation. So I'm being called on to do my practice, because if we are all one, and I do believe that is true, then I must do it. My doing it helps them. It helps the whole planet. And for those of us who consider ourselves conscious, intentional beings, we must do this practice. Otherwise, we are participating in the continuation of the chaos and the disturbance. But doing our practice, whatever it may be, the chanting, the prayer, the meditation, the yoga, the Tai Chi, we have so many beautiful opportunities. And we have so much available to us. I can go on the internet. Somebody mentioned social media. Use that social media for the upliftment,
Yeah.
so that I'm bringing in the higher dimension, the higher vibration. And with that, we're feeding, we're fertilizing all of humanity. I must do it.
I couldn't have said that better myself, and I really, I just totally resonate with what you're saying. I absolutely believe that with all of my being, that we have not only the duty, but the opportunity, like you said, to participate in the raising of the vibration of humanity's consciousness. And it happens because we're like all in a soup together. And if enough of us, there are so many studies that have been done about meditation. When you have a really large group of people meditating and they go to a city, crime drops. They've had, it is. So knowing that, how can we not sometimes, I think, how could we not do Tai Chi or meditate or chant or whatever? How could we not? But life calls us, and all the third dimensional needs. We have to pay the rent, we have to, et cetera. And so it calls us. But boy, I think the theme of this conversation today has been that it is so important that we find that place between those dimensions where we can make a difference, where we can raise the vibration in the entire consciousness. That's my dream. That's my dream. And Baji, when we have tea together, well, I'll tell you my story and why that is such a relevant dream, what you said, why that is such a relevant dream to me. But meanwhile,
Where are you moving?
Pardon me?
Where are you moving and when?
Right now, I'm probably to Athens. So
Okay.
I'm not too far away. So,
Okay.
Yeah, so, but waiting for another flagstone to appear too. So, but Athens for now, at least. And so, but it is almost 11. So I like to really be respectful of everybody's time and keep our schedule together. I want to say I have enjoyed this so much, and it's been a balm to my soul, a much needed balm to my soul. I love all of the vibration that you have all brought here and the thoughts and the sharing. And I thank you for them from the bottom of my heart. We acknowledge the presence of the masters and the grace of the guru, the blessings and guidance of Mahavatar Babaji, Satguru Nath Maharaj Ki Jai.